it's Phoebe Garnsworthy here. I'm a spiritual author and meditation teacher, and today I want to talk to you about how to set up your sacred space. This is how I liked to create my own sacred altar, and in this sacred altar is where I connect with my higher self. It's where I hear the voice of my intuition. It's where I create my rituals. And my sacred altar consists of 5 specific pieces, and depending on where I am, this grows. So if I'm traveling, I always take a little mini altar with me, and I'll show you how you do that also. But when I have my home, I set this up, and the more things that I collect along the way, it becomes bigger and it becomes a place of true honor of your own internal soul. So the point of your sacred space and setting up your sacred altar is for you to honor yourself. It's for you to practice self-love. It's to connect with your soul in the unseen realms. And this is where you become more grounded. You feel yourself. You're able to harness the wisdom to help you live the life that you've always desired, to help you hear the advice for your soul contract, to find your life purpose. All of these things are when you connect with your higher self. And when you create your own sacred altar, we're able to do rituals, we're able to meditate here, we can journal here, and it's just meant to represent something that's beautiful for you, something that connects you to this spiritual side of yourself. So, first of all, let's talk about the space. Where are you going to do this? Now, ideally, you want to put it in somewhere that it can just be your own place. So in your bedroom is a good place. You could do it in a little windowsill. You could do it on a dressing table. If you don't have a space that you can call your own, put these in a little box. And every time you want to do this, you want to create your morning ritual, or you want to honor yourself, meditate, just pull that box out and set it up somewhere. So this is actually in a box. So at the moment I'm traveling, so I put mine in a little box and I take this with me. And this is everything that I bring with me. So for the video, I've used just a very plain white table to be able to show you what I've got here. But I also love taking different fabrics. I like doing different colored fabrics that either have been handed down to me or they're an important part of my life. So I sometimes will use that as to lay out on the table too. So you can really collect anything from around the house, anything that has meaning to you, anything that brings you joy, bring those into your sacred space and put them on your altar. So for the sacred altar, I talk about this a lot in my book, and for you to go more in depth about what it means, the best book for that would be my Align with Soul, but I also touch on it with the sacred space rituals also. So in Align with Soul, I go in depth with what it is that your sacred space is, and each of the elements that we're going to go through briefly, I go into detail. There's chapters on them in there, and also how to really harness their energy. So let's begin. The first thing that you want to get is something to represent fire energy. Now, fire energy is representative of transformation. It's representative of the light within us. And things to represent fire energy can be anything that means fire to you. So for me, I always usually have a candle. I love candles in general. So I've always usually have like a little candle. Something else could be a piece of wood. So, there are things that you can collect outside as well. You don't have to spend a lot of money to be able to create this sacred altar, this spiritual space. I actually prefer when you collect things from outside, because then you're also, they're gifts from the unseen realms. They're little spiritual signs coming through to you. So for fire, you've got a candle, you've got a piece of wood. It could be something red. Use your imagination, whatever it is that resonates with you. Fire is one. The second thing you're going to want to get is something to represent water energy. For water, I've got just a little jug of water, and I like to refresh that each day. You could have tea, I've got a bowl of sand here. Sand is representative of water. I've also got a beautiful shell. So there's a few different things that you can collect for representative of water energy. Now, water energy represents our emotional self. It's how we soothe our emotions. We do that with water energy. Think about when you have a bath, how beautiful and nurtured and cleansed you feel. So that's what water energy brings. It really harmonizes and balances our emotions. The next thing you want to get is something to represent earth energy. And earth energy is symbolic of both Mother Nature, but also everything that's physical in this realm. So it's about really grounding ourselves. And when we ground ourselves, we're grounding our soul through our body into this reality. And this is why grounding is super important, because if we're not grounded, we're not living in the present moment. We're actually living in the other realms, and we're denying what's going on in reality. So it's really important for you to ground yourself and be in the present moment. And we do this through earth energy. So for earth energy, you can have a crystal, you could have a stone, you could have a little tiny jar of earth or of dirt. You could have a plant, you could have something green. Anything that represents earth energy to you, pick that up and put that in your sacred space. And then the fourth thing, you want something to represent air energy. Now, air energy means lightness of being, it means clarity. It brings forth a knowing, it's connected to the mind in that realm because it brings through this understanding and wisdom. And for air energy, you can use, you could use Palo Santo, so you could burn some beautiful herbs. You could do some incense. You could also use sound. I like sound a lot for Palo Santo. I like sound because it also helps to really cleanse the space. Air energy is wonderful for cleansing the space. So when I start my rituals, or even just sitting down, you sitting down in front of your sacred altar is your own form of ritual, because you're coming here, you're sitting here, you're remembering, you're connecting with your spiritual self. So you could also use chimes for air energy. I also have a little Tibetan bowl. So there's lots of different things that you can use for air energy. The last thing that we want, the fifth element, is something to represent our spiritual self. So it's the spirit connected in the unseen realms. It can be your ancestors, it could be angels, and it's also you. So it's the spiritual soul. For that, I have a little figurine, a little angel figurine. So you could find something that you have already around the house, a little object, a little statue, something that represents the spiritual self. I like to also, you could have a little mirror, you could have a photograph of yourself. You could even do a drawing. You could use something that you write, like a little letter. Anything for you that represents soul and spirit. Okay, so there are the 5 things. We have something to represent fire, something to represent water, something to represent earth, air, and spirit. Now you want to set up your sacred space, and there is no wrong or right way to do it. I like to move mine around. I set it up in different forms all the time, but just rearrange the items on your altar, however it is that you feel drawn to. And then when you're going through to create the ritual, you can move through and you touch and you connect with that energy, and you remind yourself of what that energy brings you. How is it giving gifts to you? And we want to give gratitude to those gifts. And we want to also, if we have something that we wish to ask for assistance with, then that's when you connect with that specific energy. So for example, fire energy represents transformation. If we have something that we wish to let go of, that we wish that we need to release and to, call out to bring something better back in, we can use a ritual with fire energy by looking into the fire and speaking those intentions and mentally giving off that energy, and the fire transforms it and gives back love. So there's lots of different tools that you can use for each of these elements. It just depends on what it is that you want to harness that day. And be creative. This is your sacred space. This is your moment to connect with your spiritual self and to connect with your higher self in the unseen realms. I also like to set up my sacred altar. I'll sit here, I'll do some journaling, I'll meditate, and that's my perfect morning. This is how I like to spend my day, and this is how I give love back to myself. This is how I connect with my intuition. So this is your little video on creating your sacred altar and your sacred space. I hope you enjoyed that. If you're looking for more in-depth understanding, like I said, my Align with Soul, it's full of rituals as well. So you're going to understand how and why, and then you're also going to be given a practical exercise of how you can create your own rituals. And I also have quite a few videos too. So we've got a new moon and a full moon ritual on my YouTube channel here, and I'll be doing a lot more. You just let me know what it is that you'd like to see and I will give it to you. Please be sure to subscribe and leave me a comment and let me know if you found this helpful. Bye.